First, we'll create the ViewModel we need in the homepage widget. Let's create the _ViewModel class. The data required in homepage is increment size to display in the first text widget and counter to display in the second text widget. And we need a function to dispatch an increment action when the button is pressed. Declare increment size of type int and counter variable of type int. And declare increment counter of void type that receives increment size of int type as an argument. Next, run the generate constructor and generate iterable using the .data class generator. Change the constructor to a const constructor. Since increment counter is a function, we will delete it from the props list. Create a static function from store that takes store as an argument and returns _ViewModel instance. As the value of the increment size argument, the increment size property of increment state is provided. And as the value of the counter argument, the counter property of count state is provided. A function must be assigned to the increment counter argument. The increment counter function receives the increment size of int type as an argument and dispatches increment action. At this time, as the value of the increment size argument of increment action, the increment size received as an argument by the increment counter function is provided. We will connect the column widget of homepage with the _ViewModel using the store connector. Let's wrap the column widget in a store connector. fState and _ViewModel are given as types. I'll give the distinct option true. Call from store static method of _ViewModel in converter callback. The builder callback receives a build context and _ViewModel as argument and returns a column widget. Let's print to check how often it is called. Display increment size of ViewModel VM as the value of increment size. Display counter of ViewModel VM as the value of counter. The increment counter function of ViewModel VM is called in onPressed callback, and increment size of ViewModel VM is provided as an argument. Next, I will create the ViewModel that will be applied to the increment size widget. Create an _ViewModel class and declare the void type function set increment size that takes increment size as an argument. And run generate constructor and generate iterable of the .data class generator extension. Change the constructor to a const constructor. Since set increment size is a function, we remove it from the props list. Create the static function from store that takes store as an argument and returns _ViewModel instance. The set increment size function receives increment size of integer type as an argument and dispatches increment action. At this time, as the value of the increment size argument of increment action, the increment size received as an argument by the set increment size function is provided. Now that I have deleted the set increment size from the props list, the props getter returns an empty list. What happens to the equality operator in hash code in this case? Put the cursor on the equatable and press Command-click. If you look at the equality operator, it first checks whether the instance to be compared is an identical object and returns true if they are the same. Next, it is checked whether the instance to be compared is of equatable type and the runtime type is the same. For props, true if the comparison target is also empty. Next, the value of hash code is the value obtained by bitwise exclusive OR of the hash code of runtime type and the return value of the map props to hash code function. We looked at how equality operator and hash code are overridden when props getter returns an empty list. Now we will connect the increment size widget to the _ViewModel using the store connector. Let's wrap the text field widget in a store connector. fState and _ViewModel are given as types. Give true for distinct. Call from store static method of _ViewModel in converter callback. The builder callback receives a build context and ViewModel VM as argument and returns text field. Let's print to check how often it is called. When calling the set increment size function of the ViewModel instance VM, increment size is provided as an argument. Let's run the simulator and test it. The default value for increment size is 1. Let's press the button. Counter increases by 1. Let's type AV into the text field and hit return. A format exception was output to the debug console. Raise AV, type 100 and hit enter. Increment size has become 100. Let's press the increment button. You can see that it increases by 100. Type -100 and press enter. Increment size has become -100. Let's press the increment button. You can see it decreases by 100. And in the debug console, it was confirmed that the print statement of increment size is not printed anymore after the first one is printed. With this, we looked at the case where the props list is empty.